Hello, I'm Ken Vercammen, and I've done some programs for the Bar Association, for the libraries, with another attorney colleague of mine. There was a new expungement law starting in New Jersey on June the 15th, so it's forced some of us attorneys to learn more things. Is anyone in this room an attorney that wants to learn how to better represent clients? Okay, good. That's it. So kind of the interesting thing we like to say is it's almost it's doing away with a lot of expungements that attorneys would have done and got paid to do, because eventually there's going to be this online thing where people can just fill out and not pay us to do it anymore. And the idea of the governor and other people is to try to help people out. So, but just like anything else, there's already a kit on how people can do it themselves, but people screw it up. They do it wrong. And if you don't do it 100% wrong, everything you've done is a waste of time. Because why? Well, it's like doing your own electrical work, but doing it wrong. I say, yeah. So I tell people, yeah, you can cheap out, try to do your own stuff. You can cheap out, try to do your own electrical work or plumbing work, but if you don't do it correctly, then that is bad. Okay, so what's some of the major changes? Okay, let's talk about waiting periods. Okay, I'd say for a crime, felony level offense, it used to be 10 years. Now it's only 5. But again, it's 5 from when you have complied with your obligations to the court. So if someone violated probation, etc., then they're out of luck. Greg, one person can sit in that chair, okay? The king's chair. The other person of all this, they can sit in your chair. How's that? And you sit over there. You can just listen. Okay. Disorderly persons, the waiting period is still 5 years. Okay. And I'm talking about the regular expungements. There's other expungements that are called the early pathway, which I'll touch upon, but I like to call them the Boy Scout exception, because some counties make you go through hoops and hoops and hoops. Let's say someone has a petty disorderly offense, it's a simple harassment, disorderly conduct. The waiting period is still 5 years unless it's early pathway. For juvenile, it's 3 years. And again, these are where someone pled guilty or was found guilty. I'm going to go into if there was an outright dismissal. Municipal ordinance, it's a 2-year waiting period. So sometimes someone is charged with an offense and they don't have any priors. And part of what we're looking for is how can we possibly get rid of these charges in the future? So sometimes the prosecutor will say, we can give them the first offenders program. First offenders program, you're on if it's a drug charge, you're on probation for a year, and then at the end of the year, it's dismissed. But then you got to wait 6 months. So again, that's an 18-month waiting period. But you can only get a first offenders program once, whether it's PTI, conditional discharge, or conditional dismissal. For some of my people, I goes, maybe we don't want to use it up right away because some of the people might get another one. Sometimes the prosecutor will say, listen, I'll give them an ordinance this way. It's a 2-year waiting period, but they're not on probation at all. Some people say, listen, I don't want to be on any kind of probation. I'll just take my 2 years. So a municipal ordinance is 2 years. It's when it's a youthful drug offender in Superior Court, 21 years or younger. It's a 1-year waiting period. I get calls from people, I want to expunge my restraining order. Well, a restraining order is in family court. Restraining orders are not criminal charges. They can never be expunged. Someone goes, what's on my record? I goes, well, you talk to your senators and governor, but because it's not criminal charges, the only thing that can be expunged. Just like someone says, I want to get rid of my DWI or my whatever, you can't expunge a DWI because in New Jersey it's a traffic ticket. And, sometimes someone says, well, I gotta get off my record. He goes, okay, well, go in your time machine and not commit the offense that day because you can't expunge a DWI. Now, if someone goes through these first offenders program after 6 months, again, or after the period, then they gotta wait another 6 months. So if someone has PTI, it's a 2-year PTI period. They gotta wait the period of PTI plus 6 months. What I've done for some of the people is I'll say, listen, they're offering you PTI 30 months. Person says, well, that's too long. Okay, have a trial and win. But you can't. So he goes, listen, take the 30 months. After I get maybe 15 months, at your expense and cost, you can file a motion for early termination of PTI. And a lot of times the prosecutor goes like, that's fine. You don't know. I had a guy, he was in a criminal aggravated assault case. He was given 4 years probation. He wanted to get off probation after 1 year. I said, what do you want to say? You don't really need to do this. He goes, I don't like being on probation. He goes, how does this affect you? You retire? He goes, I don't like being on probation. I can't go to camp. Okay, fine. I will file the appropriate paperwork, and the prosecutor goes, yeah, right now, Larry got too much aggravation, too much work, so, the prosecutor says, I'm not, I'm the judge granted. Every once in a while, someone is found not guilty by reason of insanity. Those can never be expunged. All right? I mentioned restraining order. Now, let's get into the outright dismissal. Let's say, for example, there's 3 guys in the car. Everyone's charged with weed. Someone takes the lumps. It used to be you had to be in court and fill out a form and then present it to the court that day. And if you didn't do it, the court would say you got to go through the mechanism. Nowadays, the courts are, there's a directive that was dated June 29 of this year to the court saying, listen, if it's an outright dismissal, they don't have to fill out anything. Basically just ask. And attached to that is the expungement order that says prepared by the court. Now, what I like to do is, let's see, just so I remember to do it, I like to fill one out ahead of time if I think it's going to be outright dismissal. Sometimes someone might take the lumps on traffic tickets, the criminal charge is dismissed. And this way, at least as an attorney, by having papers in my file, the times when we went to court, it will remind me. Let's see. Since we're doing Zoom hearings still now, I like to present stuff ahead of time to the prosecutor in court. This way, it reminds me what we should do, and also that we can we present it ahead of time, and the judge can't say you haven't done it. I waited to hear back from the Superior Court because I had a Superior Court case that was dismissed without us even going to court, and it was dismissed, let's say last September. And then I sent in a request to the court by email a whole bunch of times. Court, please, we'd like to have the automatic expungement. I'd like to have the automatic expungement. And then no response. And then the client didn't get back. It was okay, forget it. Then I said, you know what? Let me see if I can send it to the municipal court, even though it was a Superior Court case. Let's say send it to the municipal court. They goes, no, you got to go to Superior Court. Go back to contact the Superior Court, and this is prior to June. They said no. Judge Jones said you have to do it when you're in court. But we've never been in court. Well, Judge Jones says he can't do it. Okay, well, sometimes you heard the expression like, who's wearing the pants? Well, who's wearing the robe? When the guy who's wearing the robe says to his law clerk, I'm not going to do this just by email, and you got to go through the formal thing, well, that's what we got to do. However, this directive that was by the Superior Court from Judge Grant of the AOC on June 29 says, we can request it. So what I did, and I'm waiting for a response, is I took what the court had and filled it out and emailed it saying, listen, my reading of this directive is, on any dismissed charge, we can request it. We'll see how, I'm gonna see how that plays out, but I just wanted to share that with you nice people here. What I also, and just so there's no confusion, I took on the court's website, they have the PDF, and then we, turned into a text document, try to make it as close as possible to what the court had, so that there's no question. So, okay, so, here's the other thing, this isn't a change, but, what has to go into an expungement petition? I'd say, everything about your prior case has to go in there, right? So, you have to have, what you're charged with, the docket number, the day of violation, what the resolution was. Let's see, I tell my clients this, if you don't have every offense you've ever had since you were 13 years old, and that's not on that petition, after waiting 4 or 5 months now, because it's so far behind, you know what's gonna happen? I'm gonna get a letter from the county prosecutor saying, please deny the expungement or refile everything because your client did not put down that he had a Seaside Heights ordinance violation for undressing in public. One guy didn't put down something in Maryland, having a can of beer in his hand when he was 20 years old. And I said to him, he goes, I forgot he even had that. He goes, I got the part-time cop gave me the ticket, I mailed him money, and he goes, but we have to refile everything, we have to serve. So, what do I tell people that? I goes, listen, are you 1,000% sure that this is the only thing you've had since you're 13 years old? Unless they're 1,000% sure, he goes, listen, I think, get yourself a criminal history. Let's say we still got to put in the petition, but we're going to attach it. This way, the more stuff we give to them, and everything's in by paper, by the way. Nothing's on on the court system. Everything's by paper. We have to we want to attach as many papers as possible to make it as easy as possible for the prosecutor and the judge. And sometimes people are like, why are we making their life easier? He goes, because we want to have them granted. We want to speed this up as soon as possible. Also, I mentioned when I mentioned the waiting period. I'd say someone goes, but I have to, he says, okay, I got my 1 year. I'm on this dismissal program. And he said another 6 months as well. If we don't wait the 6 months, we only file at 3 months. It's going to be more than 3 months before it comes across the prosecutor's desk or the judge's desk. So we can file it ahead of time. Technically, we're not allowed to, but we do it anyway because they're not going to reject it. Unless, like I said, one particular time, for some unknown reason, the prosecutor court system worked super fast, and the prosecutor goes, Kenny, the person's not eligible for another month. Okay, let's give you less work and give me less work. I'd say, we're going to adjourn this by another month. This way, that time period went. You're waiting for something from me. He goes, you could just deny it now, but then it's going to come back upon your desk. Let's be practical. I'm always about being practical and trying to solve problems. All right? Now, there's I always say my colleague Al Moraine has a great website, and he has on his website he has a list of places you can get the criminal history from. Why reinvent the wheel? He has all these different places that we always say we don't recommend anyone, because if we recommend someone and it doesn't work out, it's our fault. Just like someone yesterday asked me for a recommendation on an account. I go, I don't recommend anyone for anything. However, this is who I use. You know, and he's done okay by me. I always tell people, read. There's information on the judiciary website on doing the expungement. There's information on the state police website on what to do. And now, we used to have to pay $75 to file an expungement. What's the fee now? Nothing. So that is another new big thing. So also now, the new law starting on June 15th. Let's see, it makes more disorderly persons offenses eligible. But the most important part of it, I feel, is that you can get certain, if you have two, I call it crime/felony level offenses, if they are not ones that are disqualified, if you had two in your life and more than the 5 years went by, if you're eligible, you can get expunged the last one you had, not the first one, but the last one. So here is an example. Okay, someone had a robbery offense in the year 1990, and then they had a theft offense in the year 2000. Well, the year 2000 was, a decade ago. That's more than 5 years. They can file the petition for expunging the theft charge. You can only get the very last one can be expunged. However, let's say it's the other way around. You had theft in 1990, robbery in 2000. Robbery is one of the ones that can never, ever be expunged. So sometimes what I'll do with my clients is I will, sometimes when we're trying to work out deals with the prosecutor, there's certain times where we try to make it something that look at the chart of what can't be expunged, that is prohibited, and goes, okay, can we fit within one of these? So for example, like these certain official misconduct offenses can never be expunged. So someone may be better off saying, okay, listen, I'll take a theft charge because I can expunge that. You see what you can work out with prosecutors when we're doing this. Okay, what got to be on the petition? Well, obvious stuff. Where they live, the date of birth, social security number. It's one of the rare times where personal identifiers are put down, and what the information I've discussed, what happened in the prior one, and it can't be attached. Let's say because the person who does the expungements in another county says, let's say, we get either pro se's or even attorneys that say see attached. See attached is an automatic rejection. It got to be the stuff. It got to be what the original charge was, the statute number, the 2C : etc. What it was, what the complaint was, or indictment or accusation. I try to also put in the promised gavel number if I have it. If I have it, who was the judge, the day they went to court, and it's what the fine was, and put C disposition. Municipal court's pretty easy. I get when someone has. I tell, listen, go get the certified disposition, and I go, listen, it costs you $5 to $10. It may take a little bit longer because they're doing it from their computers, but that's it. If someone wants me to do it, I was saying, listen, I'm going to charge you $300 if I have to go to the court and get it. You can get it for $10. I'd say, yeah. Have I had people that says I'll pay you to do it because I don't want to do it? Yeah, sure, but not that many. Let's see, and I go back and forth. If you don't put down that Ocean City, Maryland, can of beer thing, prosecutor's gonna say, we gotta redo it. That's why I asked the magic question, since you were 13 years old. Because a lot of people, they thought any juvenile charge was when they turned 18, it was erased. And nothing's ever erased. Let's see, it's the papers years ago were lost, but the computer is the computer. Logistically, we have to file with the court. The petition for expungement got to be signed by the person. There's also a verification, a statement to accompany the petition that this is all I had, and also I have no other pending charges. So if someone says, listen, I think I'm going to be charged, I think I better do that expungement real fast, he goes, nothing is fixed. If Warren Buffett called me up and goes, Kenny, listen, my nephew got jammed up with some dumb Belmar matter, and I need to have, and he pled guilty to something because the attorney said just plead guilty, and I need to have it expunged because I'm trying to get him this securities position, and I'm going to pay you $50 million because I'm rich. Warren Buffett, I'm a rich guy, but it's got to be done within 3 weeks. I'll say, Mr. Buffett, I would love to take your $50 million, but it can't be done within 3 weeks. Can't happen. Can't happen. One guy said, what if I give you some money to spread around the courthouse and see what happens? And I goes, you mean like committing a crime? No, I don't do crimes. That's it. I've done okay with my career, my life, because I try to do the right thing 100% of the time, and doing anything wrong is never good. So logistically, for the people who aren't lawyers, we do I mentioned we do the petition, the statement. We do an order for hearing and a proposed order for expungement. That's sent to the court. We wait for the court to get around and email us back the paper version, and then someone, the law clerk, takes a pen usually and writes in a date and time, 3 or 4 months in the future. But that's kind of a tracking date, because if they put a date 3 months in the future, let's say I tell people nothing's ever certain, but I'm pretty sure that it's not going to be done that day. That's why I don't even like to tell my clients that we got the order and it's a day, because they think that that's a date, it's going to be done. Right? Then another relic of the olden days, we have to send all these documents to these different entities by certified mail. Say, how many non-attorneys have used certified mail in the past decade? Probably not too many. And I tell everyone, certified mail, unless you're sending it to either a government entity or a corporation, no one's home to pick up certified mail. And when you get that little yellow sticker in the mailbox that says there's a certified mail waiting for you, nothing good ever came by certified mail. It's usually either a summons or something else. So a side note, whenever we want proof of someone, we got to use the UPS or FedEx, where pay the extra money requires a signature, or if it's court related, use guaranteed subpoena, because they'll have you can ask for the snapshot of someone being served with something. Okay. We send it by certified mail. The certified mail cards come back. Then we got to file the certified mail cards with the court. Well, sometimes the post office is not the most efficient thing. So we send out the certified mail cards. 2 months go by, haven't come back. Well, we know that it went there. We got the thing stamped when we first went to the post office. So you can look up online to see when it was served, and then we got to print that out and attach that to the court saying, looks like the postman has lost the green card, but accept this is instead. We send that to the court, and then whenever there's an expungement petition, who you got to send it to? Superintendent of State Police, the Attorney General, the county prosecutor, the local town where it took place, the local chief of police. If there was another police department involved, serve them, because the whole idea of doing this is to get have the records, quote, expunged. So if it was Rutgers Police, you don't also want to serve Rutgers Police. There's a transit, any other, like, local police. Okay. If the person was on probation or conditional discharge, PTI, county probation, Middlesex requires the sheriff because they're the official repository of the fingerprints in this county. And then anyone else, sometimes the court says in that county that you gotta serve. So after a period of time, the state police will send in to the county prosecutor, now to you, a letter saying whether the person is, quote, eligible. And the prosecutor, then if there's an issue, prosecutor oftentimes will send us as the attorney a letter saying they're not eligible, or something was not included. The Seaside Heights violation, or I met people that, look me in the eye and they're very honest that this is my only thing. And it goes, Danny, what about this? I completely forgot about that. I was 18 years old. I mean, like, we had an argument in a bar, I went to court, and goes, okay. Other people, though, I think sometimes are game players. Prosecutor calls me up and goes, Kenny, this lady did not put down 6 prior violations she had. And so, called the lady up, she goes, those were all dismissals. Those are my, my ex-husband, and we were, he kept, every time I had a restraining order, he would file a bogus criminal charge against me. He goes, well, but you gotta put that on the petition. I told you that when we spoke. It was in my email. It was in my second email. It was in my third email. Let's see. Did you think the court was not going to know about it? Well, it says arrested. I was never arrested. So what I did, just personally, I deleted the word arrest. Any charge ever. Was it state versus you other than a traffic ticket? All right. If the court and eventually if the court will go, if there's, everything's cool, no objection, the court signs it, they send it to you, then you gotta serve everyone all over again. Let's see, now, let me at least take a step back. There's something called early pathway. So, early pathway for a criminal offense is 4 years. Early pathway for disorderly persons offense is 3 years. But I call that the altar boy type expungement because, at least in this county, the prosecutor wanted a copy of the transcript. They wanted of the plea hearing. They wanted a transcript of the sentencing, and they wanted this and that and this and that and this and that. But listen, for someone who wants to go to, for licensing or some kind of job, you either you spend the money and do all the work, or you wait until you're eligible for the I call it the regular expungement. We had a nice young lady. She wanted to be a nurse. She was like, she originally applied to nursing school. She was accepted, and then they said, we can't have you into nursing school because you got this criminal charge. And she goes, but okay. It goes, but why am I disqualified from going to nursing school? This is because we don't want to accept someone that cannot be a nurse. That's not eligible to be a nurse. We're taking your money, and then at the end you're going to say you took my money without, so our policy is, as long as that offense disqualifier is there, we won't let you in. So this is why the lady thought it was a while to spend the extra money to go through the early pathway expungement, because she goes, listen, how much I'm making garbage money being a bedpan washer. As a nurse, I'll be making good money. I'm making the investment so I can move this along and move on with my life. So that's what that lady did, and it worked out for her. But again, the early pathway is very complicated. So I tell my attorney colleagues, he goes, let's say, charge more money. And when someone says, I'm doing it for a friend, I goes, are they a really good friend, or you just think it's like to fill in the blank form? I'd say, you know, when I was a public defender, I would say this, I'd say, there is a form online, I'd say, yeah, this is where they pled guilty, you read the instructions, they're in English, Spanish, if they're in a different language, you go to Google Translate and then figure it out, or have someone help you. That's not part of my job in doing your expungement petition. You know, I'm nice enough just to tell you like how to do this stuff. Okay, so court signs the expungement order. Congratulations. Let's see. The pro se people, because they didn't hire a lawyer, sit on it. Good. Okay, I'm done. Let's see you. No, you're not done, because it got to be sent by certified mail again to those entities. And in my theory, until I get something from the state police saying that it's expunged, it's not expunged. I tell my clients this, that if I was you, if this is very important to you, in addition to my doing it, you're going to send the thing by certified mail yourself, and then you can communicate to them saying, listen, I want verification that this was expunged. And in my experience, some of the local police, local courts will give them the verification because they're tired of my guy sending them a letter every single month saying, you haven't responded, you haven't responded, you haven't responded. What can an expungement order by the court sent to all these entities? What can an expungement order not do? It cannot undo the internet. So, what's on the internet will be there until the internet ends. Let's see, now, let's see, there are troll companies that take criminal convictions, and then they sell them out. And if you want it to be removed, they will say, okay, you have an order, okay, we will charge you X. Well, you want us to remove it, we'll charge you X amount of money. Okay, person can say, I have an order by a court. That internet company says, that's great. Let's see, we're not in the United States. Tough luck with your order. So I tell everyone, it cannot undo the internet. Also, it cannot undo, if your name was in the newspaper, it cannot undo what's in the newspaper PDF, because it's like a book, and you can't send the order to the library and say, I want you to remove this book because my name is it, or take a Sharpie and cross my name out. I was talking to a newspaper though. He goes, well, let's say something. He goes, Kenny, just for argument's sake, let's say I get dunning letters from some attorney with an order. What should I do? I goes, well, to have less aggravation, if it's just a matter of killing off something off your website, that's easy, then do it. I'd say I am permitted to post unpublished court decisions. They're on the judiciary website, then they're on Seton Hall, Rutgers Law School's website, and they're floating around other places. I've had people say, I demand that you take this off your blog. And part of me is saying, I don't have to do anything. It's a public record. But on the other hand, the other part say, okay, how much aggravation do I want from this guy? Because having this unreported decision is not making me any money. It's not that important, and I don't want some. On the other hand, this guy trolling me, having writing on the internet that my staff murders babies and kills puppies. So a lot of times I'll take it. I tell the clients and this is something new I've started doing. I'd say scan the order
Why?
Because you're gonna call me up in like 7 years saying, I can't find a copy of the order from the court. Do you have a copy? And my answer's gonna be, no,
Because what I did
after the court granted it, I shredded my papers. I'd say, yeah,
I'm not keeping
your stuff forever. I'd say, as much as I love practicing law, when I'm 89 years old or whatever, I may be doing some stuff, but I'm not keeping your old paper stuff. So, just like with the powers of attorney, and I tell people, listen, scan it,
and then
then email it to yourself. That way it's on your cell phone. So I have my living will, my family's living wills on my cell. Why is it on my cell phone? Because we scanned it and we emailed it to us.
so I told the clients,
It is for your benefit.
okay, so
I would like to say I got the best website around. Okay? I have lots of stuff on it, but
believe it or not, I have
I prefer people when they just call up while I'm driving, goes, hey, I'm not eligible for an expungement, and sometimes
been talking about fagos.
off the top of my head, I don't know. You can go to Alan Moraine's website, NJ Expungements, and you can
Fill the blank, and it'll say no or yes.
yes, and then I tell the people this, I'd say yes, but I can do it, come in and see.
But
I have been trying to be more efficient
in my office prior to COVID,
because
our policy
used to be, we would email the questionnaire out, and the people would take a pen and fill everything out, and then I would sit down with everyone. And then back in January, people
started emailing me back. It was all typed up,
and I go, wait a minute.
this is much better because their name is typed out. I don't have
To figure out their handwriting, and if there's
an error, it's their fault. So in my municipal court expungements, I type the stuff out.
And a guy today sent me his papers back, and blank line on disposition
Date and resolution. I can easily just email that portion back to him and say, listen, let's see, I'm not trying to give you
a hard time. I am helping you, because if you don't know, then the court's going to require this. Go and
get that criminal history done, and your life will be so much easier.
I originally thought I was going to go till about 5:25. It's after 5:25. Ray, are you still here?
Yes.
Can you turn off that recording device, please? Stop what you're doing and turn off the recording device.
I thank you, everyone.
Everyone in TV land.